dim glow is in the background if he's in on me too tight. Okay, Gary, he'd rather have me in the shot. Okay. Okay. For those interested, it's Hal Walker out at the Windsor Castle in the town of Windsor, about 4 or 5 miles west of Heathrow Airport. You can hear the airplanes running over, and you can see a bit of the fire burning in the background. It looks like embers, but if you were here, you could really see that it is still blazing away quite seriously, some 7 hours after it started, and a little over 6 hours since it was first discovered. That's where we are, and that's what we're doing. Oh. Just outside of London, and 7 hours after it started, about 6.5 hours since it was first discovered, the fire in the castle is still burning. Although the firefighters say they do have it under control, it is still lighting up the skies just outside of London and proving to be what at least one observer has called a national heritage disaster for Great Britain. Queen Elizabeth herself was out here earlier. She was not in residence when the fire broke out, but she was here earlier and looked around and was visibly shaken by the enormity and the extent of the damage. The Prince Andrew, the Duke of York, was in residence when the fire broke out this morning. He heard the alarm and then ran out and joined with a group of staff members who had formed a human chain, taking some of the very, very valuable possessions out of the way of the fire. It will be a long time before the total assessment is made of the damage out here, but the people of Great Britain are tremendously shocked by the loss of this tremendous heritage. Among other things in the castle, the Royal Archives are here. We are told that the area, the living quarters of the royals, was not under any threat, and that the firefighters have been able to contain it. It will only be a matter of time before they're able to bring it completely under control and put it out. But nonetheless, we are looking at a very, very dark day in the history and in the heritage of Great Britain.
Bring the blaze under control currently.
There's no immediate word as to the cause of today's blaze. Windsor Castle is currently undergoing refurbishment work. It's possible the blaze may have been a result of an electrical fault. Buckingham Palace is saying there's no suggestion of terrorist involvement.
moment, there is no indication as to how it started. It started, as far as where it started in the private chapel, which is basically beneath where that fire engine is at the far corner, and that's where it started. How, we don't know. What's that called, sir? It's called the private chapel. Just the private chapel. I think that the only thing that one can say is that it is an immense relief that this happened during daylight and mid-morning when there were a lot of people around. Had this happened at night in the place that it happened, I think we would have lost a great deal more. The efforts that have been put in by everybody involved, both the fire services, the police, and all the people that work here, has been absolutely magnificent. So we've managed to get, and we are still moving stuff out now, not because it is in danger at the moment, but because as a precaution it would be the first.
Far over that way, John. In fact, where we were before, we couldn't hit that. And you've got a chance danger of pushing it that way anyway.
Right.
Really, the only way they can do it is to go from the other side.
Yeah.
But it's even higher from the other side, isn't it, John?
Yeah, that's the palace, but the priceless art collection inside. More now from Gillian Finlay.
All day long, the smoke heralded the devastation. Windsor Castle in flames. A fire that started in a part of the building undergoing renovations quickly spread. Firemen were brought in from all over southern England and at times appeared to have things under control, but then the flames sprung up again. For the royal family, the castle is a favorite weekend retreat, housing much of its extensive and irreplaceable art collection. When the fire broke out shortly before noon, Prince Andrew was the only royal at home, quickly stepping in to supervise the salvage operation, stopping next to brief reporters.
Well, actually, shock, horror, and shock and horror in the fact that it took hold so quickly. I mean, I happened to be around the castle when it started, and I heard the fire alarm, and some 2 or 3 minutes later, when I came out of the room that I was actually in, you could see the smoke, not as extensive as it is now, but you could definitely see it.
All day, castle staff and local military regiments formed human chains to help save precious artifacts, books, furniture, priceless old master paintings, Rembrandt's Rubens and Holbeins, all loaded into moving vans on the way to safety. But not all the valuables could be retrieved. As the flames spread, the smoke became thicker. In all, a half-dozen staterooms are said to be affected. As evening set in, the Queen was reported to have arrived to survey the wreckage herself. Her aides described her as devastated.
It's impossible to say how long it will be before any true sense of the damage here is known. But what may have started as a simple spark is already being called a national heritage disaster. Centuries of history literally going up in smoke.
Tonight, despite official assurances the fire is under control, the flames continue to dance. The blaze could be seen for kilometers.
So swiftly. The Queen arrived with Prince Edward, anxious consultations with castle staff, and then the worst moment, everybody's nightmare after a fire at home, a look inside, a damage done. This is how the Queen last saw St. George's Hall, scene of so many great state occasions. And this, what confronted her today. The floor littered with collapsed roof timbers.
So I think this is the Queen.
Some artifacts, as here in the stateroom, still intact, but open now to the elements. In the Waterloo chamber, empty panels, evidence of precious paintings quickly removed. In response to this appalling damage, a pledge from the government.
The situation is that patently, and I think everyone in the nation would expect me to say this in response, we will be taking the castle back to the condition in which it was.
Firemen faced now with the clear-up and the ever-present risks.
It would appear that the main structure of the building is held up very well, but internally, as you would expect, the timber floors have collapsed, and it's making firefighting operations extremely dangerous for our personnel, because quite clearly we can't allow them to go in without many safety precautions.
The firemen have had one natural ally this morning, the rain. That's helped to dampen the flames, but it's added to the sense of gloom that surrounds this stricken building. The Queen walked away disconsolate. She could shake away the wet, but not her worries. Norman Rees, ITN.
Quickly consumed by the flames. As the fire took hold, a human chain of staff and soldiers rushed from a nearby base, carried furniture and paintings to safety, led by Prince Andrew, who happened to be at the castle when the alarm was raised.
Well, actually, shock, horror. Shock and horror in the fact that it took hold so quickly. I mean, I happened to be around the castle when it started, and I heard the fire alarm, and some 2 or 3 minutes later, when I came out of the room that I was actually in, you could see the smoke, not as extensive as it is now, but you could definitely see it.
He said the Queen rushed to inspect the damage to her favorite castle and was devastated by what she saw.
I think that the only thing that one can say is that it is an immense relief that this happened during daylight and mid-morning when there were a lot of people around. Had this happened at night...
Attractions would have played host tonight to a 45th wedding anniversary celebration for the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh. But as night fell, the flames were still leaping above the battlements as firemen fought what seemed to be a losing battle to prevent it from spreading, and fears for the castle were growing. For Global News, I'm Bruce Garvey in London.
Still ahead on